Good day, good night, whatever time of day to you out there. My name is Thuli Thuli the King. Welcome to the podcast, Thuli the King Connection. And I love you for being here. Let's have a ball. Click the subscribe button if you haven't already. And if you can feel that the energy is correct, you know you're gonna keep receiving the best content. The energy is aligning. Click the notification bell, then like the video now, because you already like it already. Just like it, because you already like it already. And then comment to us and tell us what you think about this episode. Tell us what you think that you would like to hear more of, what you want us to elaborate on, and what you'd like us to dissect. But most importantly, I want to hear from you. What's your experience of the content that we are giving to you? And today's topic in particular, especially. What do you have in mind about it? And share the video. Thank you. It would be amazing to hear what you have to say. So, another episode, ladies and gentlemen. This time, we're going to be more serious now and formal and fundamental. And I believe I will not be too long. But it's going to be something that I feel it's extremely important, but it's so overlooked. And when you have information, but you don't arrange it properly, you have no information because you don't know how to use it. We need to find ways of how to make information work for us. But the fundament of that, even in the long term of things, and especially on how we've gotten to where we are today, using languages, using manuscripts, using history books, and so on, many other things like holy books, we are put into a position and into a pressure point of deciphering information. All in all, I want to talk about the importance of archiving and note keeping. Please keep tuned in. It's not a boring topic. See what I have to say to you. So, at the end of the day, all the things that we are reading are other people's notes and archives. All the things that we are listening to are other people's notes and archives. And I'll tell you this for free. All the technologies you are using, the methods of lifestyles, the dietary prescriptions that you prescribe to, all of the ways of life on what time you sleep, what time you wake up, where you work, and all of that is someone else's archiving and note keeping. At the end of the day, things have to start at ideation. And that's what I'm talking about when I say the importance of archiving and noting. Ideation. Because when you are at a point where you want to start something, whether that being a business, a project, an idea, a system, you want to start changing yourself, your lifestyle, a family, financial means, financial gains, anything at all, you need to start with ideation, which is the ability to make ideas. But just ideas is not enough. You need to learn this hard art of writing. Writing is very important because what happens is that there is a sort of a hand-eye coordination from your mind to your brain to your hand, and the cycle keeps going. If you especially read it aloud or you read it all together, you are now able to put these ideas into words or into drawings and graphics, into ways that are readable and meaningful. And I think this is something that is heavily overlooked. Just being smart is not helping anyone. Just reading is not helping anyone. Are you able to bring out, recollect, redistribute the work that you have in mind and that you have stored in self, or that has been inspired from the inside to be placed upon paper. If you can do that, then you can bring ideas to life. Any project that you think of, when you think of the great Thomas Edison, who had over 1,000 failures to create the light bulb, he had to go through each idea, writing it down. Imagine if he just started with ideas and he started to just wake up and start doing things. And just started doing things. When he failed, he didn't even notice that he failed. He can't even recall where he failed. So, note keeping for him helped him to see on attempt number 9 versus number 7, what worked there, what didn't work here, and attempt number 8, this is what failed. So then he brings all of those previous 9, 10 attempts into his most recent one, which is 10 or 11, attempt number 10, 11, which he fails still at, but keeps going because he has the information to back it up to say, okay, we failed here, we thrived here, what can we improve, what can we develop, what can we change, what system can we add, what can we develop, what can we finish. And all in all, when you master this tough art of noting, note keeping, writing, just writing, drawing ideas, writing them down, you start to bring them to life a little bit. You start coming closer to what you want to achieve and where you want to go and where you want to be. Very important. I urge you to now go and invest in a pen and paper and just start writing your ideas. You start journaling your experiences, yourself, and you just start going deep with these ideas, the thought patterns that you have, the type of intrusive thoughts that you have as well, the wishful thinking you have. All of these things, write them down. You don't know what you're writing, just write it down. And all in all, when you reflect back one day and you read these things, they somehow give you a perspective of where your mind was at that moment. Then you notice the amount of growth or the amount of disgain, and let's say reduction in self that you have gone through, because you can see where you come from and where you are currently. All in all, that is what we call archiving. Archiving is the storing of information so that it can be retrieved for a future purpose. Noting helps you. It helps you, note keeping, so that you may recollect the information when needs be. Because sometimes you need brain support, you need mind support to say that now I know this information, I've read it, but I need to have triggers that remind me of certain things. And those can come from your notes. Do not undermine the power and the importance of note keeping and archiving. Within the archiving element, what you help to do is to help store memories, to store ideas, to store information. And this is a great value, very important for your information to be stored. And that's what we are using all day, every day in the world. We are using information systems. You need to see how are you keeping your information intact? How are you allowing it to have space for it to receive recollection? And how are you allowing it space for it to come to life by further noting and further growing in that regard? Thuli the King. Hold on. So sometimes it can happen that you need to, and you're working on trying to develop self. And within developing self, the importance of note keeping is extremely important, because then you can document your journey, your progresses, and your fallouts. And all in all, you are finishing yourself. And the great thing about noting is that if you do it correctly, you can infiltrate your mind correctly, and you can control your mind correctly. You see, there are ways that systems have been made in order to get us to believe certain narratives. When you create a brand of legitimacy around something, you are most likely to believe anything that might come out of it. When you watch the news, you most likely will believe anything that comes out of it. I'll say a simple story. There was once, if I recollect correctly, a lady who had bore 13 children, I believe, and I think a couple of twins and a couple of triplets. And it was reported all throughout mainstream media that this was an actual and factual event, and we got this reporting of news. However, when days and at some point weeks pass by, we start to learn that actually firstly, some of the children could not be found, or all of them could not be found. Secondly, the family could not be found. At some point, the family was found, but it was less kids, around 6 or so. At some point, it was like, it's just twins and triplets. At some point, they're saying there are no twins, there are no triplets, they're all individuals. And all in all, information. And information, at the end of the day, if you create a good enough source, which we had believed at the time, which were news outlets, which seemed very credible, and we believed them, eventually we could not believe, and eventually we were not sure on what to believe. So all in all, information can get you to believe certain things and remind you of certain things. In the same breath of what I've just spoken, when you create a portal where you receive information from and you find that it is good for you, where you are getting the information from, the information can change the way you see things. In the same breath, information can be untrue and can be distorted and can lead you to being in a certain way that can derail you on where you want to be and where you are going. And now, this leads me to say, sometimes you need to note towards what you need. You need to note towards what you want. Then archive that information. So, for example, if you want to be a successful businessman, successful businesswoman, you want to be a successful model, and you have certain targets. Maybe as a model, you want to win in the next 2 years the regional pageantry. Then in the next 5 years, you want to win the provincial pageantry. But in the next 7 years, you want to win the national pageantry. And maybe eventually 10 years, the global pageantry, or at least be in the maybe finalists or so. What has to happen is that you have to write that down, archive it, reread it, and build upon it. Let it be your map so that you may know where you stand within the journey of growth you want to be in. You may know where you stand within the type of route you want to take. So that also if you and find yourself, you have off-ramped at the wrong off-ramp of life. Now you need to find means to come back. It will help you to recollect and find your grounding back to where you used to be or where you're supposed to be. And all in all, the nice thing about noting and archiving is that it helps you to create systems. And this is the secret of systemizing. Systemizing is just writing down what you want and making it happen. It's more complex than that, but at its simplest form, it's that. And that's what these business analysts and management operators and all of those guys get paid big money for, just for writing things down, for analyzing, and for making decisions based off of those analysis and based on the writing down of information, creating systems. Wow, how am I going to define a system? A system is a way that things should happen. I think that would be a fundamental and straight to the point definition. A way that things should happen. When you write things down and you have a plan for it within your noting down, then you archive it and then you keep revisiting it. What you can do, and especially if you put it in the right face, in the right eyes, you can get a belief system to come into it. And this is, for example, is something called the Bible, holy books, the Quran, other holy books as well, which are at the end and at the beginning of their core a system book of notes and archives. That's what it is. Now you can create your own way of life by systemizing your notes, by systemizing your archives. These things will help you build self, will help build into your future, will help build even your upcoming generations. Because all in all, it's gonna help you to also have a family dynamic, if that's what you're gunning for, or a country dynamic, a nation dynamic, a populace dynamic, a world dynamic. These things, they can happen and they are possible. And all in all, I think that we should take advantage of noting and archiving, because we hold information for the next generation to reflect upon, for our mentees to reflect upon, our children, our children's children, and other people around us who can learn from what we have been through. And all in all, it's a great experience because you have credibility, you have comfort in knowing that there is something of merit that holds my ideas, my beliefs, my systems, the things I want to grow into, the things I want to believe. This includes studying as well, because noting and archiving can be a very, very great way of studying, which is one of my studying secrets and tactics, which saying that when you are at school, I think you can pass a subject without having to study it, where you just listen to the educator and hoping that they are good educators, and you just write down what they say. Just write it down, and listen to them. Note it also in your mind. Then, in the first instance, is that before the exam or test, which is a risk, by the way, I'm not saying only do it this way. Take it if you want to take the risk with it. But within that same process, you will reread your notes, and after rereading your notes, you will go and write the exam. And I believe you have a better chance of remembering the right information, because now you're going to use your mind to drop the picture of the answers that you need. But the archiving factor of it is that when you save the information, when you save it and store it, in the later effects, when you are in the next grade and you need something to support you, you can look back and say, this is the information that I had before, it will help me, instead of going back to the textbook or to the teacher that was there doing the work with you. All in all, it's great. It's a great experience because you are creating a great hack, long-term hack in a short-term suppression of pleasure, because it might seem like it's boring, it might seem like it doesn't make sense, but I can count to you that most of the most successful people in the world, they note down and they archive. The systems we are being run by today are archives and notes of other people. When are you going to start creating your own? When is your family going to create their own? When is your circle of influencers, circle of dream makers, chance takers, when are you guys going to start noting and archiving and creating new systems for thyselves? I think this would be the first of many on this subject of intentionally noting, writing down, bringing plans alight, making them breathe, grow legs and wings. It's the first of many. But this is the fundament. Just taking notes and archiving them, storing them, and making them come to life. And all in all, I believe this will help you greatly. Tell me what you think about this. Is it just a floozy message? Does it make sense to you? Do you agree with it? Is it overrated? Is it underrated? All in all, I want to hear what you think. I am Thuli Molefe, Thuli the King, from the Thuli the King Connection podcast, and I can't wait to hear your thoughts. Like if you haven't liked already, subscribe if you haven't already, click the notification bell so that you can get my content each time I launch an episode, and share the video. Once more, thank you to Tlangis Lounge for offering us this great facility for us to shoot at and from. And I know that you guys are getting the best content out there. We are doing our best to give you the best content. Communicate with us. You can see the details below for Tlangis Lounge and even ourselves. Communicate with us on how you feel like you can add value to us, how we can add value to you. If you wanna book the production team, you can hit us up. If you wanna book me as a speaker, as a mentor, as an advisor, anything at all. I'm also a musician and a DJ. I do a lot of things, but if you check my profiles there, you'll find out what I do. And I know that you're going to take my information and hopefully use it and keep noting and archiving, as we are now using this podcast as well. May you be blessed, and may you remember that you are created in the image of God, and everything that you need is inside of you, and God loves you insurmountably so. Stay blessed and keep a positive mindset. Thank you. Thuli the King Connection.